Daily stock market update for Thursday, the 15th of January, and we're about an hour away from US market open. This is becoming like the Alpesh Patel investing show. We're going to cover UK, US markets, macro developments, crypto, and commodities. So let's start off with the overall, what's happening? Earnings season moves from theory to evidence, basically. Markets are open, selective, and increasingly impatient. And you're going to see that with some of the big falls I'm going to tell you about in a second. This is a tape or market that tolerates reality and punishes any excuses from the company's earning announcements as they are now going through earnings season in the US. It's going to have to be really clean profitability. So start with the US first. The S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Dow. Early trade is pointing to consolidation as earnings results start to set the tone. Index levels are holding, but single stock volatility is definitely riding. Mega cap tech remain central, but there is some rotation out of those. Is that short term? Almost certainly, because the mega caps are the ones delivering all the profits. But the falls are not big enough that you'd want to buy on a dip. What really matters now is the guidance they give to profits going forward, and their credibility will matter more than their brand name. So it won't matter if you called NVIDIA, you could still drop 20% unless you set the right tone. This is a market that's going to forgive nothing and will reward only delivery. So if you look at what happened at the close yesterday, on Wednesday, you saw that whilst the S&P fell 0.5%, the NASDAQ dropped 1%. It's more technology-heavy. Technology people are getting a little bit short-term worried about, and they think that there's a narrative about broader breadth coming in, so they want to diversify. And that is what I heard from JP Morgan's private bank as well. It's what I'm seeing from Goldman Sachs Wealth Management as well. There should be breadth, not a fall. Therefore, people are diversifying. That is not necessarily bad for the core holdings that I have in those kind of tech companies. But what it does show you is this: if you were just betting on those, that wouldn't be the cleverest move. Not least because last year we saw Microsoft only up about 6 to 8% anyway. It was Alphabet that saved the day. So breadth is fine, but luckily a lot of that breadth can be silicon chip and can be AI related. Anyway, banks have been falling, even though banks should for this year be strong, good, strong economy as well. And the S&P 500 banking index dropped 2%. Who said indices and those broader benchmarks are safe? Wells Fargo fell sharply, not one we own, because it missed fourth quarter profit expectations. What did I tell you? If you miss, you're going to get punched. Investors also reacted cautiously to results from the other major lenders. For instance, JP Morgan beat their profit estimates, but because they warned that a proposed cap on credit card interest rates by Donald Trump could hurt consumers and therefore the economy, this meant companies like Bank of America, Citigroup, and Wells Fargo also didn't rise as much as they might otherwise have done because of the positive broader economic background. Just this worry about, well, if you're capped at 10% interest on credit cards to consumers, those banks are obviously going to get less money from interest payments. What about macro developments before I turn to interest rates, the UK? Well, base rates obviously unchanged. Nothing's changed here. Soft landing is the consensus. Inflation is cooling. Slower but positive growth. That's your bottom line. Hasn't changed since yesterday or the rest of the week. Don't forget to have a look at campaignforamillion.com. In fact, if you do that now, it'll be brilliant, because that's why we do this. So we get more hits on there and we get more views. Risk asymmetry. Bad macro data is carrying more weight than good data adds to the upside. Remember that. It'll help you understand things a little bit better. Just go to the UK now. FTSE 100 been trading sideways with defensive bias. Okay, so basically banks, energy, insurers, they're doing the heavy lifting in the UK. Don't be fooled into thinking, therefore, that's the trend for the rest of the year. If you're into UK markets and you've got those, you'd probably want to hold them for the whole year, not just for now. But growth is scarce. You don't go into the UK markets for growth alone. I know the FTSE 100 is at all-time highs. That is an aberration. It is not the norm, and it's making up for the fact that just as early as 9 months ago, it was at 2019 levels. Okay, so it's got a lot of catching up to do to give you the kind of returns that you could and should otherwise have had. International investors still treat the UK as a yield and valuation play, not a conviction growth story play. If we dive a bit deeper into the UK, the message is this: stability is rewarded. That's why you're in the UK. Ambition without cash flow ignored, right? So they don't see these companies having ambition. They don't see them having big cash flow. They don't see them having growth. So you're really doing it on a value basis. The FTSE did close at a record high on Wednesday at 10,184, and the FTSE 250 lagged, as it tends to do, was up only 0.1%. The miners led the gains as copper hit all-time highs. Rio Tinto up 2.3%, Glencore up 3%. Healthcare also outperformed. As I said, it's counter-cyclical. Economic cycles still mean that you've got to buy drugs. AstraZeneca rose 2.4%. That's because it's agreed to buy Modella AI. Media stocks lagged, dragged down by a 9.5% fall in my publishers, Pearson, who used to own the Financial Times. I should say my former publishers, because they don't own the Financial Times anymore. After it lost a contract in New Jersey, house builders were also weak. Vistry down 8.8%. Look at those hits that they're getting. And you can expect big hits like that, because if the market is at all-time highs, anybody not keeping up is going to get doubly punished. Focus today will be on corporate updates from Taylor Wimpey, Dunelm, Rathbones, Ashmore, Foxtons, Mitchells and Butler. It's quite a bit coming on. SafeStore as well. And those players like Rio Tinto and BHP's Pilbara iron ore plants, they will stay in focus because, yes, miners, all-time highs, copper, demand for zinc, gold, silver, obviously, as well. Let's look at the macro developments. We did that already. Interest rates. UK Bank of England easing expectations are fully embedded. Rates are a stabilizer. They're not a catalyst. There's no news on the rates thing. It's really about earnings. Okay. Bigger picture, rates have become a background noise. They no longer rescue weak equity stories. Equity stories better be strong. Oil, range-bound, low 60s. Iran, no impact. Ukraine, no impact. Gold, near record high. Central bank buying continues. That looks like it's going to continue, not least because the private banks that I've been speaking to are also telling their clients to keep hold of gold, right? So gold, it's just a hedge against equity overconfidence. You'd probably have 5% in your portfolio at most anyway. Crypto, Bitcoin is consolidating, in other words, going sideways, indecisive, nothing big here. Crypto behaves like a mature risk asset, not a hedge on the macro side. Major stocks and sector themes. Well, US mega cap tech, early earnings and guidance are drawing sharp reactions. Either you beat the hype and stay where you are, or you miss it and you drop 10, 20%. Anything vague is going to get punished in this earnings season from those. Are we worried? No. Are we having to take any action? No. In terms of what we've got, are we chasing narrative stories, sectors? No. We're happy with what we've got. We're not trading, and we're not going to get lured into trading. The defensives, which are the stories? Well, you've got defensives, healthcare and staples, of course, money going into those, financials and energy. So remember that. And for this year, you should be fine with those as well on the US side. January behavior, this is a fast judgment season. Weakness is identified early and priced ruthlessly. Don't forget it. Earnings reality is that markets are rewarding balance sheet strength and margin discipline, not revenue stories without proof. So even if you say your revenues are up, they're going to dig deeper, like an auditor doing a deep down probe. They're going to say, are your profit margins holding? Have you grown not just revenues, but earnings as well? Or have you sacrificed assets on your balance sheet to try and get a temporary boost? Have you sacrificed profit margins in order to get a temporary revenue boost? They're looking deeper. We'll keep an eye on those things for you. Okay, so this market doesn't guess, it verifies. Rates are irrelevant, results are everything. Gold isn't scared, it's skeptical. Reputation no longer protects bad guidance. There's your bottom lines with everything. If you've liked this and you'd like more of it, then please have a look at campaignforamillion.com. As we get more views on that, we do more of these. Campaignforamillion.com. Also, if you like, share, and comment, this will go to more people. If it goes to more than 3,000 people in a day, I'll do another one the next day. If it doesn't, I won't. How do we get to 3,000 viewers? You just simply have to hit the comment button or save it or subscribe or repost. If you don't do any of those things, the algorithm and I assume your hand isn't up for saying I'd like more of these. If your hand isn't up, we won't do them. Why should bother doing it if nobody's interested? It's that simple. Thank you all very much for your patience. Campaignforamillion.com. Thank you.